Hello User Groups Live, this is Byron Mikowicz from the Anaplan team, and I'm here to talk to you about the relationship between our product engineering teams and our internal operations, better known as Customer Zero. To begin, a little bit about myself. I've worked here at Anaplan for a little over a year. Before that, I worked at an aerospace company as the FP&A lead implementing Anaplan. So my Anaplan experience is about 2.5 years now. And internal, I've been building our FP&A use cases as well as our sales use cases, developing our COE, and working with our product and engineering teams, which is what I'll talk to you about now. So our agenda for the day is we're going to go through what Customer Zero means to us. We're going to talk about 2 of our latest product features that we would like to show off and how we're using it internally, which is the DocuSign integration and the optimizer feature. So what is Customer Zero? We like to define it as the beneficial relationship between product and engineering and our internal operations. What we do with this is we test features, we share feedback, and we define what the strategy is going to be for the platform moving forward. How we do that is we have a broad team of Anaplanners across the company, whether that's in sales ops, alliances, marketing, finance, accounting. We have a lot of internal Anaplanners led by the COE here, our team, and what we're doing is we're having constant relationship management with our product management team. And what we're doing is we're constantly getting new features implemented on the platform, and in return, what we're doing is we're producing feedback to go back and forth between ourselves and product with how those features are performing, how we're actually trying to improve them to make the platform stronger. And so whenever these releases happen, we really try to work internally with our team to provide good feedback so that we can make the platform as strong as possible. So on top of that, what we do is we meet with the head of product, Sampath, on a recurring basis, and we really try to build a strong relationship from the top down with how we think our internal operations can aid in the product releases. In addition, our team deals a lot with the sales side of the business, and so we end up in meetings like this user group, sales engagements, and CS interactions that give us kind of front end perspective as well as back-end perspective with the product, so we can really get an end-to-end understanding of how the product is being used and then deliver that information back to the product team. And lastly, we're actually working on important projects that are coming down the pipe that Simon's going to talk to you about a little bit and that we'll just talk to you about, like workflow, as well as machine learning and AI use cases. And so the takeaway message here is that what Anaplan is trying to do is use Anaplan as much as it possibly can, drinking our own champagne. And we're trying to be on the leading edge of that, but we're not satisfied with just that. We would like to take it farther and extend the platform to make it as good as possible for all of our customers. So that's really what we're into and what we're trying to do here with this Customer Zero concept. Okay, so with that, let's go into DocuSign. So DocuSign, as you know, is a leading document management company, and so we've decided to put in a native connector with Anaplan where we can generate documents and connect it with Anaplan, and then also we can get information out of DocuSign back into Anaplan in order to track the progress of all of those documents. And so basically how that's happening is we have staged modules and line items that are being connected to DocuSign templates where you can just input text, numbers, names, emails, and information directly into DocuSign in order for us to produce that integration and then have a two-way connector between the Anaplan model and DocuSign itself. Some of the use cases that we like to talk about are T&Q, and as well as incentive comp management, which is what I'm going to highlight and demonstrate today. Basically, all of the comp plans that we've sent out the last 2 fiscal years have been using this native connector within Anaplan. So I really want to spend a lot of time talking about that now. It's been a great benefit to us. This is the model schema of how we actually did it. We have data coming from SFDC and Workday, coming into the Anaplan on Anaplan Data Hub, and then splitting out, going to the PBF application as well as the T&Q application, where we are then producing the quota, how much the quota is going to cost, setting up the territory structure, the capacity plan is the headcount that we have internal to the company. All of that information gets funneled into the ICM model, the crediting and compensation model that you see here on the screen. And then it's staged and then produced and sent over to the DocuSign integration where all of our comp letters are sent out. The last 2 years, we've had our annual kickoff meeting the very first week of our fiscal year, and we've had our big information sessions where we decide on what comp is going to be. We have our big rollout, a lot of interesting and exciting presentations for our internal team. And then the very next day after AKO, we've been able to deliver something like 400 to 500 of our comp letters with this integration, which has been a huge benefit to our company for simplicity and tracking's sake. So with that, let's go into the demo. So I'm going to go now into Anaplan, and we'll take a look at my Anaplan model here. So this is my SPM model, which I'm going to spend a lot of time in. We're going to produce quota here, and so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on how we actually produce and get to the quota numbers. Suffice to say, we end up with a lot of information about quota, meaning what are the employees, what are their emails, their roles, what is the target quota, how much is the variable comp going to be, what is the base rate, the accelerator rate, etc. All this information is what I'm going to stage in Anaplan in order to push directly into DocuSign. And so the first thing you do once you have this staged is you go into DocuSign. And what you're going to view here is a template. And so what we've done is we've put together a document that we're going to, all of these yellow boxes are what connect back to Anaplan. And so each of these, as well as all of these down here, are what we're going to integrate with Anaplan and then fill up our comp letter using. So here's our participant, our role, the territory they're in, the amount of variable comp, as well as all of the target quota, base rate, etc. All of these things are going to flow in from Anaplan into DocuSign. So once you have that done, you're going to set up the connections. Here's my staged Anaplan model, and here is DocuSign. And all of this information, you just tie one to one. If you name it the same thing, it'll automatically connect to it. And then you just save these changes. And then we're going to go over and create a workflow in just a moment. So in this workflow, which I've already staged here, what I will do is just preview and send. And that's going to deliver all of those comp letters. As you saw in my Anaplan model, I have the emails of all of the employees that exist at our company that are going to get quota letters. And so all of those get sent out. Here for the demo, I only have myself. And what that delivers via my email is this setup. So here's my name, that's the territory I'm in, there's my variable comp, here's my quota. Obviously I'm not in sales, so these numbers are all made up. And so then I can fill out all of these boxes directly with Anaplan. And then I can go through, sign it, and produce it. And that delivers the DocuSign through the entire process, the entire workflow. And then here it tells me that the two-way integration, information coming back into Anaplan, we have all of my data stage as to when I signed it, what the envelope status is, etc. And so it's been really great for us. We do this for all of our salespeople and CS people. If you can imagine a company with thousands of employees, the scale here is immense, and you can set up these templates and deliver comp letters, as well as any other DocuSign integration, extremely fast. So it's something we're really happy about, something we've worked a lot with product on, and something that we want you all to use as much as you possibly can. So, okay, with that, let's talk about the next feature of the day, which we're pretty excited about as well, and that is Optimizer. So Optimizer is a simulation engine that optimizes business outcomes. And so really what it can do is it delivers modeling and iterations in order to create a solution for maximizing or minimizing an output based on constraints. So how it actually does that is there are three major steps. You have to have an objective, a variable, and a constraint. The objective is what you're maximizing or minimizing. Your variable is what you're changing in order to do that. And then your constraint is basically the different things that you want to limit your variable by. So in our example that I'm going to show later in the demonstration, we're going to try to assign a bunch of accounts by just putting a 1 or a 0 next to the account owner and the account itself. And the capacity or the constraint is going to be something along the lines of how many accounts can each rep have, or it needs to be in the same pod as the rep, and maybe we need to tag an individual industry to a certain account. So all of those types of constraints you can set up. So what does that actually look like? And this is part of that first slide, is that Optimizer is directly out of the Anaplan UI. It is extremely easy to use, and it's one of our better solutions in that it doesn't take any coding or knowledge of how the backend actually works to produce this amazing solution that does a lot of things that Anaplan hadn't been able to do before. So as you can see in this screenshot, we have an objective, a variable, and a constraint. And you're just setting up line items within Anaplan to make those work. So it's really easy to set up and test. You just produce an action and then publish that to a dashboard based on all of these configurations. And so I'm going to show you that in a second in the demonstration. important point is that this is a premium offering, and it's something that Anaplan, in speaking with your sales and CS team, you can get within your workspace as well. So with that, just want to talk a little bit about some of the use cases that we've seen. I'm going to spend a lot of time on territory optimization. That's what I just spoke about before, doing account assignments. But there are a lot of use cases across manufacturing and supply chain and finance as well that I highlight here on the screen. Production planning, source selection, operational inventory management, as well as transportation scheduling and yield and revenue management are really great ways to use Optimizer to maximize the number, to model, iterate with constraints in order to produce a solution that benefits the modeling and forecasting of the platform. So with that, let's go ahead and get into Anaplan one more time. I'm going to go here. I'm in my same SPM model, and I'm going to go into Patch Optimizer. And so what you're looking at here is my set of constraints. So again, in this scenario, what I'm going to do is maximize my total addressable market by setting a bunch of constraints. And so I'm assigning all my accounts out to sales reps in order to maximize my TAM. And the constraints are going to be things like how many accounts can each rep have? Or maybe there's a particular rep who's going to stay within one industry. Or maybe there's another rep who's going to only keep these accounts. And maybe we're not going to let Joshua keep this account. But these are basically the constraints that you set. You could do this for all of the regions, any industry you want, any patch that you want. And then what we can do is we can run a scenario that's going to assign out my thousands and thousands of accounts to the entire field, and it will produce the maximized TAM. So I'm just going to run that. I'll go down here and take a look at what it produced. So this is the amount of TAM, total addressable market, that's assigned by each of these reps, and we can compare that against what we already have assigned currently in Salesforce. So down here we see a chart just comparing the two. And so what that does is it gives us a broad brush, broad stroke way of assigning out all of our accounts using constraints, using some logic around how to best do that. Again, we're really excited about this feature because it is extremely valuable for sales operations and sales management to get this holistic and scenario-based iterative approach to modeling and forecasting our tool. So with that, that's pretty much it from me. Just want to conclude by saying Customer Zero is a really important part of what we do here internal to Anaplan, and we're excited for the future with our product team and the future of rollouts with all of you. So thank you.